If sentiment and expert opinion are anything to go by, this century and probably the next as well.
South Africans have spent Friday honoring the memory and legacy of Nelson Mandela. The South African Gold Coin Exchange chose to honor Tata by releasing a Mandela Remembrance gold medallion. For more information on this special coin, I'm joined by Alan Demby, who is the CEO of the South African Gold Coin Exchange. Alan, thank you so much for joining us. Let's talk about what makes this coin more special as opposed to every other coin you've made.
Well, this medallion is minted by the Mint of Norway. They get the rights from the Nobel Institute. It honors the fact that Nelson Mandela indeed won the Nobel Peace Prize. And this particular design is brand new, and it has a mintage of 500. It's a half ounce of gold. It features, as I say, the new design. It says there, "Long Walk to Freedom." So I think it's an opportunity for South Africans for the first time in the last year to really get something to celebrate and commemorate Nelson Mandela for everything that he did for South Africans and, in fact, for the world.
It's really a really great looking coin as well, and as you can tell, I mean, it's as you said, half an ounce of gold as well. But how much would it ordinarily go for? I mean, despite what it is, how much would it generally cost?
Well, it costs 21,750 rand. So these are collectible and rare coins. They don't trade at the price of gold. They trade at a premium because there's a scarcity factor. In fact, we recently sold a very interesting coin, a South African Burgerspunt from 130 years ago, for, believe it or not, 1.5 million rand with a quarter ounce of gold. So scarcity and rarity play a big factor. It's only really with Kruger rands that you trade at the bullion price. So whatever the gold price is, the rand-dollar exchange rate. But all other coins and collectibles trade at a premium. For instance, 10 years ago, the South African Mint brought out the History of Democracy coin. The issue price then was 4,400 rand, and believe it or not, today, 10 years on, these trade at 60,000 rand. And of course, they feature Nelson Mandela with the Union buildings in the background. Yeah. So it's really scarcity and rarity that often drives these sort of collector markets.
At 22,000 rand a coin, is the premium really based on the fact that it's a Mandela coin, or is it just because that's generally what it is, as you said, at a premium?
Well, I suppose it's a whole host of factors. A royalty is given to the Nobel Institute. A royalty is also given to the Nelson Mandela Foundation. And I'm pleased to say that the Nelson Mandela Foundation has been the beneficiary of quite a substantial amount of royalties over the years, due to the success of this program. But of course, there are minting costs, there are packaging costs and various other logistic costs. But I think by and large, it seems to be a fair price. And at the end of the day, the buyers and sellers will determine what the ultimate value is. For instance, about 8 years ago, we launched a Mandela de Klerk medallion for 8,000 rand, and today that is trading at 50,000 rand. So it's really the buyers and sellers who determine ultimately what the market really is.
Interesting. Okay. Well, there seems to be a whole lot of coins in general, though. I mean, you mentioned Kruger rands as well not so long ago, but there seems to be a wide range of these gold coins that you can actually invest in. How do you know which one to choose, and what's the right one to actually invest into?
Well, that's a good question. And in fact, just to give you and your listeners some insight, the coin market is an $80 billion a year market. So there are 300 million coin collectors from around the world, from buying bullion coins to collectibles. We've probably got about 10 million collectors in America, collectors in England, Germany, from all around the world. People buy because they want to protect themselves against the currency depreciation. Also, they're looking to make money out of gold, of course. But people like to buy coins from their own country to celebrate and commemorate various aspects, be they political, be they leaders such as Nelson Mandela, flora and fauna, and a whole host of reasons. So for whatever reason, it's probably our desire to collect and accumulate. If it isn't coins, it's art. If it isn't art, it's stamps. Even the art market is an $80 billion a year industry. So despite the fact that we live in a disposable society, I think more and more people are looking to hold on to something. And I think the beauty with gold is, first of all, it's been around for 6,000 years. But it's something of value, a legacy. It's an item that you can give to your children and grandchildren to remember you and parts of history that have passed you by.
You said as well that they all have generally a lot of leaders, or in terms of remembrance as well. Do they all have massive significance? Is there no way to just sell a gold coin just as it is?
Well, you can, which is really the Kruger Rand. I mean, the Kruger Rand was the first bullion coin minted in 1967. It's the most popular gold coin in circulation with 60 million. But you're only buying it for the gold price. There's no sort of feeling, an attraction or connection, because it's just a piece of gold. And this is why I think people like old coins, numismatic coins. It's from the Roman Empire, from the Americas of 1800, from England, from Queen Victoria. So there's something significant. It could be your birth date, it could be your grandparents' birth date, something of historical value. For instance, we just recently launched the centenary of the World War I coins from the British Royal Mint. So those people have a connection with things, with the war, World War I and so on. They'd like to buy this. And of course the interesting thing with that particular coin is it has the of Lord Kitchener with his finger pointing at you saying, "I want you." And that the significance of that was that he spent time here during the Anglo-Boer War, but also that image of him was used by the British to recruit soldiers during World War I. So, these coins have a story and a history and a provenance, and I think people like to connect to that.
Quick question, how much is a Kruger Rand coin going for right now?
Today, 14,500 Rand. And just to tell your listeners, 10,000 Rand invested in Kruger Rands in 1970 would be worth 5.5 million Rand today.
Well, certainly one investment to get into at some point during your lifetime. The earlier, the better, is clearly what Alan Demby is saying, who is the CEO of the South African Gold Coin Exchange. Now, South African businesses also took part in Mandela's Remembrance Day. Reporter Daniela Duploy filed this report.
As leader of a democratic South Africa, Nelson Mandela strengthened global business confidence in the country.
We became part of the global village, therefore the thinking had to change. That could only happen through the inspiration that he brought into the country and the respect that he commanded globally, which had an impact on business in general.
And it's this legacy Chamber Group Afrikaanse Handelsinstituut, or AHI, want to build on.
The AHI has thought about it, and we saw it fit to bring different groupings together so that we can celebrate the legacy of Mandela, but also share his vision again and make people realize that we need to unite as a business community to overcome the many economic challenges that we face at this point in time.
His whole life was the long walk to freedom. The challenge